10 celebrities who have given up a child for adoption. Rod Stewart. In 1963, the English rocker was a teenager when he found out his girlfriend became pregnant. They had a daughter, Sarah Stewart, and they chose to give her up for adoption, and Stewart had no involvement in her life whatsoever. When Sarah turned 18, she found out that Rod Stewart was her biological father, and after the death of her adoptive parents, she reconnected with him. However, over the years, their relationship blossomed when Rod helped her through some really tough times. According to the Daily Record, she got hooked on alcohol, cocaine, and crack, but Stewart helped her dig out of her drug-related debt. She told the Daily Record that she now just thinks of him as dad. Rosanne Bar. In 1970, a 17-year-old Rosanne Bar gave up her daughter Brandy Brown for adoption when she was only 9 days old. Bar admitted that she initially wanted to keep her daughter, but being an unwed mother with no support made it extremely difficult. But more than 18 years later, the two later reunited, and Brown worked as a production assistant on Rosanne for a little while. Joie Mitchell. In the mid-60s, Joie Mitchell was a 21-year-old art school student in Canada when she gave birth to her daughter Kelly Dale Anderson. Unmarried, no money, and no roof over her head, Mitchell reportedly ran away to Toronto afraid her parents will find out, and gave up her baby girl for adoption. She went public many years later in her quest to find her daughter, and the two met for the first time in 2001. Mitchell was married twice but never had more children. David Crosby. David Crosby had a son, James Raymond, with a woman in 1962 whom they put up for adoption. Fortunately, Crosby and Raymond, who's also a musician, reunited decades later. The two bonded over music and even wrote songs and played together on stage and in studio, and developed a relationship that they had lost over the years. Raymond was even instrumental in making Crosby's 2014 album Cross when he served as co-producer alongside Dan Garcia. Kate Mulgrew. Orange is the New Black actress Kate Mulgrew became pregnant with a daughter at the age of 21, when she was just starting out in her career, as she was playing the role of Mary on the soap opera Ryan's Hope. The father of her daughter was David Bernstein, a directorial intern. The two were not married, and Kate didn't want an abortion, so she offered to pay her mother money to watch the baby while she worked. However, her mom refused since she recently lost her daughter to cancer and found it would be too difficult. As a result, Kate decided to give the baby up for adoption. Mulgrew began searching for her daughter not long after the adoption, and in 2001 the two reunited. Andy Kaufman. Comedian Andy Kaufman had a daughter, Maria Bello Colonna, with his high school girlfriend in 1969, but gave the child up for adoption. She later researched her ancestry and learned that Kaufman was her father. Unfortunately, Kaufman had already passed away from a rare form of lung cancer, but she did reunite with other members of her birth family. David Foster. David Foster's eldest daughter Allison was born when he was only 20 years old and placed for adoption at birth. It wasn't until Allison was 30 that she was able to find her biological dad and reconnect with him. Today, the two developed a loving father and daughter relationship, and she even services as a secretary to the board, director, business, and stakeholder relationships of the David Foster Foundation. Mercedes Ruehl. Oscar-winning actress Mercedes Ruehl placed her son Christopher up for adoption in 1976 when she was in her mid-20s. According to the Associated Press, Ruehl chose adoption because she didn't have the emotional development or the economic capability to be a mother. The two later reunited after he turned 21 years old, and he is now the godfather of Ruehl's second son, Jake. Patti Smith. The 20-year-old Smith was studying to be a teacher at Glasgow State College in 1966 when she conceived a child with a 17-year-old boy. Ultimately, she decided that giving up the baby for adoption would be the best for both of them. If she had decided to keep the baby, she would have had to depend heavily on her parents for support, who were already struggling to provide for Patty and her 3 siblings. Clark Gable and Loretta Young. In 2000, Young finally admitted that she had an affair around 1935 with Gable via posthumous memoirs, which resulted in a daughter. The baby, Judy Lewis, was born in 1935. False name was allegedly listed as the mother on Judy's birth certificate, and the girl was placed immediately in an orphanage. Young ended up going back and adopting her own baby 19 months later. Although the girl looked a lot like Gable, he never acknowledged that he was her father, because he was married at the time.